Hofschneider, and welcome to another CNMI Decision 2024 interview, this time with a new candidate for NMI delegate, Liana Hofschneider. I'm your host, Tomas Manglona, and we're here on Saipan conducting this interview. Liana, thank you so much for making time to join us for this interview.
No, Jesus Masi, Tomas, Donkuluna Jesus Masi for this opportunity. Today is actually a very important day for me. I'm looking forward to this, and I'm very excited, and thank you for the opportunity. And for those of you that are, don't really know me, my name is Liana Hofschneider. My family roots from my mother's side is Manglona. And I always say, I'm from the Karisu. I'm from the swamp, what do they call it? The Karisu site. And it's very important to me why I say this. And in the days ahead, we'll talk about why I want to say that Tauto Susonzanzo, I'm from the Karisu side. But anyways, again, I'm running for the U.S. delegate. Please bear with me as much as you see me going up testifying in public forum. But this is my first official communication with all of you, and I thank you for allowing me into your spaces and to listen to what I have to offer you, and hope and have faith in trusting your vote of confidence for a new vision of leadership up in the U.S. Congress. As you all are aware, this is a 48 or 49 years relationship with the United States of America, and that office, when it was created in 2009, is a very important office. And today, this will be the second set of delegate. Congressman, U.S. Delegate Gregor Kilili has been our only delegate in the last 15, almost 16 years. And I want to impart that I want to continue some of the good works that we need to do for our people and our Commonwealth. And with that, I hope that you share the same vision and hope for improving our status and improving our relationship. And some of the things that I wanted to talk about and carry to Washington as your delegate is to improve our relationship, of course, environment, education, our governance, and most importantly, it's important that I take this everywhere. It's my Bible, and not just today, but many years through my advocacy. And I want to continue improving upon this. And as the days ahead and the months ahead into election, I hope that you will stop by and come and listen to what I have to talk about, and what are my vision, and what are the goals and the aspiration, not only for our people, but for our community and our Commonwealth.
And please correct me if I'm wrong. Is this your first time running for office, or have you ever held an elected position before?
No, I thank you for asking that, Tomas. No, I haven't had any elected position, held any elected position. I ran in the last election as a, of course, nonpartisan, the Saipan and Northern Island Municipal Council. I was very, very fortunate. I came in fourth. There's 3 seats, so I came in fourth, and I'm very, very fortunate and grateful for that. And I thank you, all of you, for your vote of confidence. Unfortunately, it's only a 3-seat office, so I hope and I pray that this time, I know I'm an underdog. There's the Republican candidate, and there's a Democrat candidate, and of course there's a new one, another independent candidate. But I am totally, everybody wants to say like a grassroots. I'm that. I want to hold my vote is my representation is our community and our people.
And like you've said, you've ran for office before, so why delegate and why now?
Why delegate? Wow, Tomas, as I was driving down here, a very key word just popped into my head. St. Francis of Assisi, right? They say, if not now, then when? If not us, then who? Za enigini malaguzu na kumu tihita pues hodzi, za kumu ti pago pues ngayon. Za gof importante. It's very important that I step up, and look into this. Washington is not new to me. The U.S. Congress is not new to me, not as a delegate, but as an advocate, and also as a person that has been representing our University of Hawaii. I think you're familiar. If you're not, I've been sent there many years during both the President George Bush Jr. and into all of Obama's presidency. And met with many members of U.S. Congress. There's 435 at the bottom and 100 Senate, and that's 535 members in the U.S. Congress. And Hawaii, as a state, has its own Senate and representative, House of Representative members there. And I'm very proud and I'm very fortunate to be one of them that travels to Washington to meet with them, talk about the university's programs and services, and I'm excited because this is something that I've done 3 years prior to us, the CNMI, having a U.S. delegate seat in Congress. So 3 years before Kilili sat in Congress, I was going there doing my advocacy and meeting with the members to improve higher education, reauthorization of the Education Act, and improving post-secondary education, which is some of them were Pell Grants, increasing the Pell Grants for college students and reducing the interest rates for student loans, if you're offered that as part of, defraying the cost of your education, and including professional development for the faculty and staff. And so those were some of the things that I'm very familiar, but that's not to say that it's only on post-secondary and reauthorization of the Education Act. Many things also happened during those times. The ARA funding, at that time, the American Recovery, and then there's ARPA now, but then it was ARA. I remember the Automakers of America had problem, and the insurance. So those were the height. And the Green Energy Act during Obama's time, that was another big thing. So I was very involved in working with the Governor of Hawaii, being part of the committee to work on Sustainability 2050 under Governor Linda Lingle, and also President Manglona at the university. So these are some of the background that I want to offer. And that's why now and why the delegate. So why now, why the delegate? I believe now our CNMI, with Sodalor, then COVID, and then U2, and then now we're still struggling with the, these issues with our tension in the region with China. It's very important that, the delegate, whoever that candidate that will go there, really understand not only the economic issues, but the geopolitical relationship between how we hold here, how the CNMI plays into this vital role. Because if you remember, and then that's the main discussion nowadays with the military, Department of Defense, and even us as one of the key, we're the Asia Pacific realignment. So one of the 4 pillars is the Asia Pacific. The Pacific is us. And we see that there's a lot of activities in Tinian, and those are expected because these were conversations in the past 20 or so years. And so I've been keeping abreast of all of these things, and I know I'm not there as an elected official, so I didn't have the platform, to really talk about some of the things. But I try to keep abreast of what's going on with our relationship with China, America and China, and how it affects our tourism. And getting into that, the Annex 6, document that's, working with the reinvigorating, or
and that's the cap for flights, right?
Yes, that's the they called it exactly. They called it the. Interesting, because I was going and I said, Richard was saying, you gotta make sure. I said, no, I remember this is the U.S.-China, air transport. They call it air transport agreement, and this is done back in 2007 with the goal of meeting those agreement up into 2010, and then here we are now, and this EV, agreement that's going on that's affecting us. So those kind of things are very important to me too, because that affects our economy, and one of my visions is, economy.
I did want to get a little bit more specific on your platform and issues. I know you mentioned education, governance, the environment. Obviously, you brought
economy.
A copy of the covenant with you, and so our relationship is important. We also have 902 talks coming up. I guess, and I don't know if it's a fair question, but is there a number one issue that you're going to be focusing on if you're elected into Congress?
Yes, thank you for asking that. The number one issue, of course, one of the things that our relationship with America, with the United States, is strategic, right? And when we talk about strategic, it's the military posturing, and I just mentioned the 4 pillars, right? And the 4 pillars is Asia Pacific realignment. And under that, how as a our goal is to reach a self-governing Commonwealth, right? It's important that we talk about, of course, the economy, but besides the economy, also our security in the region. That's very important. And how does that trickle down? Do you get into self-governance? You have to self-finance. And I believe the covenant holds a lot of those information, but I believe that in the past many years, not only the CNMI government in itself must go back into that original agreement and look at the lines of the sections that are provided, like Article 7, Section 102, 103, and 902, right? So now we talk about 902. Those provisions are provided to talk about some of the things that is affecting the government, affecting the people, and we say the government, of course the government's the people. And right now our economy, because, our only economic base today is tourism. And I want to help look at this, what we can do, work with the Department of Commerce, Department of Interior. Department of Interior has a very high responsibility for us, and similarly, the Department of Commerce. There are provisions in our covenant that talks about this, and I want to emphasize and exercise that and improve upon that. So these are the things, and I'm keeping track, and I'm also, like everybody else, focusing on what are the 902. So of course, economy, and economy is a very broad, and tourism is one. But I also I have a vision of and a goal to not only tourism. Coming from, Research One, Carnegie Institute, the University of Hawaii, I believe in research and technology. And so those are some of the visions that I want to, take to Washington and participate.
And for my next question, I wanted to ask you, some might describe your views on particular issues as controversial. Mm-hmm. And some might wonder, if you're elected as delegate, how will those views translate into your policy? Yeah. Can you clarify what your views are on this issue? Yes,
thank you for asking that, Tomas. That's a very big question, and I'm not a very difficult person to understand. Throughout my years as not only an advocate to improve our standard of living here for our entire community, and as we move into this election trail, I will share some of those experiences in the past 20 years of my life as an advocate. Not only here in the CNMI, but also in the state where I was in Hawaii, and also in the U.S. Congress as an advocate and going there. So we talk about indigeneity. I'm an Indigenous advocate, and I advocate for the improvement, to improve the status of our people. But improving our status of our people does not only translate to our people. Improving the status of the Indigenous community has a ripple effect. And this is our contract. When we signed our contract, it was about, decolonization, decolonizing the Indigenous people of the Northern Marianas. And one of them is to ensure that we have a higher standard of living. But in improving our higher standard of living of the Indigenous people, it translates to the higher standard of living of everyone that becomes a part of this community. And so what are my goals? My goals is to ensure that we have a better communication. And I have experiences as an Indigenous person living in the United States. I lived in Washington, DC, lived in Virginia, and lived in Hawaii, Washington State, Idaho. These are some of the experiences as an Indigenous person, and how that helped me actually coming back home to ensure that our people are not left behind. in this big world of part of the 370 million indigenous people in the world. So we're just a speck of that. And, to be a Tototano, Chamorro, it's a very beautiful thing. And I want to share that with the world. And I want to share that who we are and what we are for people, because we had over 400 years of colonization, and a lot of the public education actually failed us. In fact, our government failed us in all landscape, from both the administration, the executive, legislative, and in fact the judiciary too, with all the respect. But how do we do this? We have to have better public education. I think in educating our people and educating the community, we can have a better understanding of and have more understanding of my advocacy. Because my advocacy is just that. It doesn't, there's no underlying there. And I think what I do is no different with right now our Secretary of Department of Interior, Secretary Honorable Deb Helen. She's a Native daughter, and I can go on, in Hawaii too, we have all those Native Hawaiians that are pushing through the floors of the U.S. Congress and resulted many billions of dollars for language, Native Hawaiian languages and Native Hawaiian education. And so that's some of my vision that I want to ensure. But beyond that too, there's a community that I represent, because I don't just represent the Chamorros. I represent, even as we speak today, some of my advocacy, you will see as we move forward, that you will see that I played a major role in the current 2021. It became federal policy on accessing healthcare for COFA. And for those of you that are not familiar, COFA is Compact of Free Association, and that's the Republic of the Marshall Islands, Republic of Palau, the Federal States of Micronesia, and these are the things that in the past it's and it's a very loaded thing, but in the past it's a state, it's not a requirement, it's not mandatory for a state to provide, but today that's no longer, and I played a very key role into this having it federalized, a federal policy for the state and territories. So as we move ahead, I will talk about that, and that's definitely not Chamorro, because we're U.S. citizen. We have access to, the other things. So I want to talk about that, and that'll, maybe provide a better education, better understanding of my advocacy. That all I'm advocating is, for improve and better, attention and life of the Tototano, the Chamorros, and what's wrong with advocating for your indigenous people.
Would you say that advocacy also includes our Carolinian community?
Yeah, and
they are. The language is also an official language that can be spoken in our legislature. Does that also include?
Yeah, thank you. Tomas, that's a very big thing, and I hope I actually want to ask you to have another section to actually just talk about the Constitution. The CNMI first and second Constitution and what happened to the third, because that's a very, very critical question that the CNMI government. Unilaterally, the judicial, the legislative, and the executive failed not only the Carolinian community, but failed the entire community and the world to have a better understanding of who are these Carolinian. When we say Carolinian, it's not exclusive. Carolinian is inclusive. So when you say Carolinian, the word Carolinian is a derivative of the people of the Carolinian Islands. So if you understand, right, when we were forming our covenant, right, there's a map, and that was a very big discussion. So Carolinian is not just Satawo and Lamotric as written in the, have you ever seen the Carolinian English Dictionary? Okay, and don't feel bad, because, and neither did I had to look for it. And but I was very lucky. A student gave me, a student from Kakmang High School. I was a recipient, and I still have that. And she's now off. She's in college. I think she graduated with some science, natural resource management or something like that. And I thank her for that, because I never read it, and I finally and so in there it's specific. It says, although this was compiled by the University of Hawaii in 1991. It says there, somewhere there in the introduction, that this dictionary does not represent the whole 3 dialects. But actually there's not only 3, I think there's 4 or 5 dialects here. You have to understand. And it says there, this is only representative of Satawo and Lamotrek. And just that, I think we can just end it there and say we need to do a better education, because what we're trying to, what the public school system right now is they're trying to teach a language that's exclusive to Satawa and Lamotrek. And you can quote me, I didn't say this, this is what the book says, So there needs to be proper education, because my background, if you don't know me, my great-grandmother, she's from one of they call it outer island, but I like neighbor island of Chuk, called Namanuito. And my great-great-grandparents have migrated here for work, to work in Tinian and Guam. And it's very important to know this story, because we know some other stories, but they didn't know. And then my husband, Richard, he's from Yap, and we have a history there too, but that Yap language is not even taught. And Senator Jude, the first senator of Tinian, John Hofschneider, their parents speaks Yapese fluently in their house. So that's not even taught in the school. So see, when you say Carolinian, my next question would be, which one, right? And I think that's the thing, that we need to have a better education, the public school system, the Northern Branch College. I brought this up many meetings, and it's not a priority. So when we continue to provide information that's not inclusive, that really makes me, and being at the University of Hawaii and in Hawaii for a while, I've worked with many of them from the Carolinian Islands, and that was my relationship, and trying to bring it home and say these things. They think that I am racist, because I'm not just, I'm supposed to only talk about this group of people, and I think that's wrong. That's not, I think it is wrong, because you need to talk about the Carolinians that are in Tanapak, because those are the Carolinians that were resettled from Chuk in Tanapak, and there's descendants there right now. And then there's a Carolinian from Yap that are, some are here, but most of them are in Tinian and in Guam. And these are stories of diaspora. I think there's a write-up, I think by Dr. Jessie Bennett. I believe she did her story on the diaspora of the Chamorro. So, and this full circle, there needs to be a conversation basically of this, because we can remove all these stigmas, of racism, and I don't tolerate that. I don't tolerate racism, and enough things, we have a lot of things happening, in foreign countries, like what's happening to, the Palestinians and Israel. We don't want to have those kind of things trickle into our territory. So anyways,
thank you for commenting on that. And as our viewers know, we've offered each delegate candidate 30 minutes for this segment, and so I'm sure there will be many opportunities to follow up and follow you along the campaign trail. November is a few months away. But this is our just initial conversation to introduce you to the candidates. So thank you for addressing that. I did want to move on, as we have about 7 minutes left, to talk about why voters, when they head to the polls in November, why they should vote for you and not the other candidates. You've already acknowledged that there are candidates who are backed by major parties with funding, and another candidate who renounced his independent campaign, and then you're the fourth candidate. So as of right now, of the four, why should they vote for you over the others?
I believe that a vision. All of the candidates, like I said, like we said, have histories in government, and I believe that in trusting your vote of confidence in me, we can see and improve on those relationship that is happening right now in Washington DC. And Washington DC is very important that the folks that go there understand the mindset of Washington, the mindset of the Beltway, the mindset of U.S. Congress, and the people that we work with and we work for. And the people that we are going to be working with are members of each of the 50 states and including territories, and that includes us. And that's the view and the vision is very important. I believe that the experience, the vision that I have for our people and for our Commonwealth is fresh, and something that I want to improve upon our relationship with the United States, and using the covenant as my guideline, and those relationships that were happening in the past 49 years. And mind you, in 1975, when the first initial covenant was signed, there are promises, and those promises needs to be revisited. And 902 is one of the venues, and there are many issues that is not part of the 902, and I would like to talk about that. And some of those are the standard of living of our people, the salary, and standard of living meaning the cost of living here as compared to the minimum wage of our the working force, the cost of shipment, the food and the commodities that are coming in from the airports and the seaports, and the air transportation that's very important for our people to access, and healthcare. Healthcare, as you all know, cancer is a very real thing. My husband is a multiple cancer survivor, 4 cancers in the past 19 years. And I understand the struggle of a lot of our people and our community facing cancer. It's a real thing. And I want to be able to have that kind of conversation and bring what we need here based on the policies and documents and treaties that we sign with the United States. Also our education, as you can see, the Northern Mounts College, although they have broke ground with the construction has begun for the student center. I believe we need to do more in ensuring that we have an institution, a new Northern Mounts College building and infrastructure, not in the future, but today. It's like I just said, our covenant was signed 49 years ago. I want to see a vibrant campus that does research and international programs and diplomacy. And Tomas, many years ago when I was at the university, I was selected as one of the international laureate scholar and international diplomacy, and I was supposed to choose one of the countries, one of them, in Africa, and Europe, and Japan, I believe, and Australia, but I couldn't go because my husband was, for whatever reason, I didn't want that it was only the university is going to finance only me. I wanted, a group. I'm used to traveling with 4 of my colleagues to go to Congress, to look for money and programs and have a conversation with the United States Congress. So I felt that going by myself, I didn't feel right. So I forego that, and that's a regret that I will regret for the rest of my life. And that was an opportunity. But in that mindset, I believe in diplomacy. That's my leadership that I want to offer. I want to have diplomacy moving forward with the United States government, and especially with the Department of Defense.
All right, we just have about 2 minutes left, so I just wanted to open the floor to you. Is there anything else you'd like the voters and the viewers to know?
Yes, Sizus Masi Tomas, no undangkulo na Sizus Masi talo ni nahalum gi tempun mizu, za ufafaisin no azudun mizu, zan pinasensyan mizu, pero na izu tansa. Zabi hano para no Washington DC, za sinya ta kwentusi no i americano por hafa magahi I prinemeti za ni guinifi para itautota zan tori tauto ni magagini gitanota no importante na ta atan mo na sa go seryoso I kondisyon itautota no pago na tempo inilalota za nilala todo magagini go importante na ta dansi adzi por hano lusis ta 49 anos malago zuloki na no inais oportunidad na indalakizu no monas and ikungo kafesha pa bisongan dan afa no hinasosoku dan afa guinififiu loki para hita ni ni Mangagi gitanota. Zan look kita itotota ni Mangagi Otubanda Simpria un dia mabira siya tatizan famagunya. With that, thank you very much for allowing me your space into your homes and wherever you're at. And I ask for your indulgence and patience to please follow me through this journey as I talk about some of the visions and the aspirations that we have and the promises that were given to us during the signing of the covenant. It's a sacred agreement, and I believe that I am the candidate to bring this message of understanding where we're at, where we're going, and what are our dreams and aspirations for us today and for the future generation of not only our people, but everyone, every citizen that makes our beautiful islands their home. That's very important to me. Our standard of living is very important to me and to everyone. Thank you very much, and I hope that you would allow me that vote of confidence and have faith in my leadership. Sisus Masi.
All right, thank you, and thank you all for joining us for another episode of our Decision 2024 coverage in the Northern Marianas. I'm Tomas Manglona, and you can continue to follow our coverage at kuam.com.